Welcome to Dependable Flame, where we explore vintage petrol lighters, ashtrays, tobacconiana, and other useful mechanisms. Make yourself at home. Today we have a really cool ashtray, which I found in a vintage vendor mall, antique mall, whatever you call those sort of places. It was marked as a Dead Sea stone ashtray. I have no idea about how it was actually made, whether it was carved by hand or put on some kind of machine, but it has an interesting design and has made me aware of a niche of maybe folk art or some other branch that I was previously unaware of. This kind of reminds me a little bit of the style of ashtray, of the Chinese carved lacquer, Chinese cinnabar, whatever you call it. Seen similar ashtrays with 3 rests on top. I actually have one. But the carving on this is much different. The Chinese cinnabar is a lacquer that is produced, and then they carve these intricate details into that lacquer, which forms the base of the artistic medium, whereas this appears to have been machined or possibly worked by hand, maybe on some kind of rudimentary lathe or other kind of machinery, or it could have been an actual machine lathe where it was worked by tools. I don't know. I don't know if it was mainly machined or mainly worked by hand, but as you can see, it's got a really cool design that has been carved along the outside. It has also been worked or turned into a fairly symmetrical shape. See, the cigarette rests on top are a little bit more rudimentary looking, not exactly equal space in between each one. So maybe this was completely worked by hand. I don't know. It is marked here on the bottom, or I should say it has been scratched here onto the bottom, Dead Sea stone. And as I mentioned, I had never heard of Dead Sea stone art of any kind before I saw this in the antique store the other day. Vintage store, whatever you call it, like I said. I don't believe that this is an antique. I could be wrong. It's got a very deep well, which you can ash into. And it sort of has the look of a darker stained wood, but definitely has the sound of a stone when you tap on it. It's got a nice even pedestal here that has been worked out of the bottom, by which it is to sit on. And the carving graphics that are adorning the side of it are somewhat uniform. It looks like a long center line in the middle of each with a short one on each side, each separated by what looks like a roof and walls. I don't know if those are meant to indicate people or a personage of some kind, a dwelling. I really don't know. I've heard of the Dead Sea Scrolls, and I read an article, just a few little glimpses of it there when I looked this up, that was talking about how the Dead Sea is dying, that apparently the bed of the Dead Sea is in the same place as Sodom and Gomorrah, And it also talked about the mineral wealth of the Dead Sea. Apparently, the minerals that are in that sea would account for, according to that article on Wikipedia, or maybe it was just a plain Google search where I saw that part of the information, but apparently someone has posited that mineral wealth of that body of water would be worth somewhere in the neighborhood of $4 billion. It's a lot of money. But for me, this was more just a curiosity for the price that they were asking, and where I typically would buy something like this and be planning to move it on. I don't know exactly. I like the design of the ashtray. I like that it has 3 rests. I like that you could ash a lot of cigarettes or joints in here before it filled up. And I also like the fact that it would be a discussion piece. It would provoke conversation, I believe. And a really cool item that I don't believe you see every day. It's certainly not something that I have seen often, or that I even really remember seeing at all. I may have encountered similar objects in vintage or antique type businesses before, but just been unaware of what they were. I'm pretty keen on ashtrays. I'm always looking and always paying attention to what ashtrays are available. So I think that if I had seen an ashtray similar to this before, that it would have left an impression on me. But who knows? You know, you run into a lot of different objects in those kind of places. A lot of them that are really cool. A lot of them that you would really like to keep a hold of. Others that you can appreciate their artistic value. But whatever the case may be, this is a really cool relic of possibly the Dead Sea. Once again, I don't know how you would go about authenticating something like that. There's carving around the bottom edge here. Like I said, there's carving here to form the lip of this small little pedestal that the ashtray sits on. I don't know if the white color is just a product of the original stone being carved, and that once you get down below the surface, maybe that stone has been turned dark by the minerals that are present in the Dead Sea, or if this is somehow dyed and then carved. The fact that all the Dead Sea stone art that I saw online appeared to be about the same hue makes me think that that color is present in the stone because of whatever is present in the water of the sea. Anyway, but either way around it, this is a really cool ashtray. And an example, apparently, of Dead Sea stone art, which I was previously ignorant of, but now happy to have acquired. Until next time.